In 1964, a 17-year-old stayed awake for 11 days straight. No coffee, no pills. By day 4, he believed he was a famous football player. By day 11, parts of his brain were shutting down while his eyes were still open. Here's what refusing to sleep actually does to you, day by day. His name was Randy Gardner, and it started as a school science fair project. The first 24 hours felt almost normal. That's because your body runs on a chemical called adenosine. Every hour you're awake, it builds up in your brain like sand filling an hourglass. Caffeine works by blocking your brain from feeling that sand, but nothing stops it from piling up. By hour 24, Randy's reaction time was already slower than a drunk driver's. Studies have since confirmed it. Staying awake for 24 hours impairs you about as much as a blood alcohol level of 0.1%, over the legal driving limit in every U.S. state. By day 2, Randy's eyes stopped focusing. He couldn't watch television. Then his brain deployed its secret weapon, microsleeps. A microsleep is your brain forcing itself to sleep for 2 to 10 seconds while your eyes are still open. You don't notice it happening. The scary part? Microsleeps are why drowsy driving causes an estimated 6,000 fatal crashes a year in the United States alone. At highway speed, a 3-second microsleep means traveling the length of a football field with nobody driving. By day 3, Randy was moody, uncoordinated, and slurring his words. His brain was no longer waiting for permission. On day 4, Randy looked at a street sign and saw a person. Then he became convinced he was Paul Lowe, a professional football star, and argued with anyone who said otherwise. This is where sleep deprivation stops being uncomfortable and starts dismantling your grip on reality. Brain scans of sleep-deprived people show the prefrontal cortex, the region responsible for judgment and impulse control, going quiet, while the emotional centers fire out of control. Your brain starts dreaming while you're awake. Randy wasn't weak. His brain was doing exactly what every human brain does when it's pushed this far. By day 6, Randy's speech was slow and flat. By day 8, he couldn't remember what he'd said 1 minute earlier. And scientists studying cases like his later concluded something remarkable. Parts of a sleep-deprived brain show sleep-like brainwaves while the person is awake and walking around. Scientists now call this local sleep, individual regions of the brain going offline one at a time, like a city shutting down block by block to save power. He could still bounce a ball. He could still function. But the person operating the body was running on fewer and fewer working circuits. Final days were the strangest. Randy's eyes could no longer track moving objects. Asked to count backward from 100 by sevens, he stopped halfway. He'd forgotten what he was doing. His face was expressionless. His voice was a monotone. On the morning of day 11, 264 hours awake, he held a press conference and somehow answered questions coherently. Then he was taken to a naval hospital, wired to electrodes, and allowed to do the thing his brain had been begging for. He slept 14 hours and 40 minutes. Here's the question everyone asks. Could he have died? For most people, the answer is no, and the reason is humbling. You cannot force yourself to stay awake indefinitely because your brain will simply override you. Microsleeps become unstoppable. Sleep always wins. But there is one terrifying exception, a genetic disease called fatal familial insomnia, which affects roughly 1 in a million people. It destroys the thalamus, the brain's sleep switch, and the body becomes unable to sleep at all. Patients survive on average about 18 months after symptoms begin. Sleep isn't a habit. It's a biological ransom your brain collects, one way or another. Randy Gardner recovered, and Guinness World Records later removed the sleep deprivation category entirely. It was too dangerous to encourage. His record will likely never be officially broken. But here's the twist. The real damage isn't done by 11 sleepless days. It's done by decades of 6-hour nights. And what that does to your body, slowly, silently, might be even stranger. That's exactly what we cover in our next video. What happens if you only sleep 4 hours a night, forever?